Welcome to this special episode of Pat Psychology Masters. Today I'm going to be providing my own insight into emotional health and how it applies given the current circumstances of the coronavirus pandemic. So the reason I'm recording this video is because a friend of mine asked me if coronavirus affects emotional health, and my immediate response was no. Coronavirus presents people with flu-like symptoms, perhaps leads to pneumonia, and is risky for older or vulnerable people to get, perhaps people who have lung issues. And no, it doesn't affect emotional health. And although that's quite true, the pandemic does affect our emotional health and can impinge upon it, and it can make us stressed and anxious or sad. But know that that's a normal response to the stressful situation. It's very understandable to feel a bit anxious at this time, because we all have people that we love who are vulnerable at the moment. And we might be anxious about finances, we might be anxious about potential bereavements, or maybe there's projects that we wanted to get done that we can't get done now because maybe we can't go to our office. Being stressed is very, very understandable in response to that situation. Now, that's not the whole picture. The coronavirus presents us with an absolutely brilliant opportunity to really improve our emotional health and improve our resilience. So the skills that are required to maintain a healthy emotional well-being at the moment are the exact same as the skills that are required to facilitate emotional health outside of pandemic times. So you will see some you're going to see some different advice like this online if you're researching it, but there's nothing special about this. We should always be limiting our media exposure anyway. We should be limiting our social media exposure anyway, because the media, broadly speaking, is an absolute shit pipe which just beams an incessant and an infinitely large amount of scutter into your eyes, into your ears, and it will overwhelm you, be it during a pandemic or otherwise. It is wise to limit your media exposure and your social media exposure regardless of pandemic status. So that's step number one. Step number two, isolation is going to be a big part of this pandemic, but feeling lonely and feeling isolated doesn't only happen during a pandemic. So make sure to stay in contact with your friends and your family. If you're not living with them, contact them, ring them. We're so fortunate to have all these digital technologies that we can video call or message or voice message or email all these people we love and care about and connect with people that way. So it's so important to stay connected with everybody, even if you might be in isolation yourself, or you might be trying to limit you're engaging in social distancing practices, and you don't want to get all your friends together or your family together like you ordinarily would. But staying connected with your friends and family, that's something you should be doing regardless of the pandemic status again. So once this pandemic is over, you can enter your world much more resilient and much more capacious for stress and anxiety, because you've learned so much given this opportunity at the moment. So it's important that we appraise the situation honestly and in its most helpful form. So it's honest to say that yes, this is a stressful time, but I'm not going to ignore it. Maybe I look at the CDC every day to see what advice they're giving, or I'll check out what the HSE are advising every day too. But don't be looking up your clickbaity websites that are just going to incite fear and try and get you to read more and more of their articles, so you'll see more and more of their ads. You don't need that in your life now, And you certainly don't need that in your life outside of the pandemic as well. These business models can be defeated if we don't fall victim to our base tendencies of scrolling through absolute shit and being constantly sold different ads. We all have people we're concerned about at this time. We all know somebody who may have an underlying health condition, who might be immunocompromised, or who might be older. Now is the perfect time for you to call them and tell them that you love them. How often is it that you tell them you love them? How often is it that you have these conversations with the people in your life that you really love and really care about? Tell them, video call them, message them, ring them. Just connect with those people you love and tell them, and have a wonderful conversation. Maybe you'd never have that conversation if it wasn't for the coronavirus. I hope your family will stay healthy. I hope your friends will stay healthy. Remember, tell people who you love that you love them. It means so much to them, and you will be the better off for it. Considering this is my master's channel, I'd be remiss if I didn't refer to some research. So, given the circumstances, I was doing a bit of searching and I found a really, really cool paper by Perrin et al. From 2009. It's a review paper of our emotional health status during pandemics. And there's 2 take-home messages from it for me. Those are, it's incredibly important to support any healthcare workers that we know, because they are on the front lines and they are working so hard to make sure that the best outcome is what's going to happen for you and your family. So support them during this time. They might be working long shifts. They might be taking some of their work home with them. Be there for them. See if you can make some meals for them. Talk to them. Anything you can do for them, do it. You'll feel great, and you're going to help make a big difference in your community. Which brings me on to my second take-home message from this review paper, which is, it's critically important, not just now, but always, to engage with the people around us, to reflect on our priorities, on our values. So, what is it that you care about? What is it that your friends care about? What is it that your family cares about? Have meaningful conversations and connect with each other. And through doing that, we can become more resilient and more informed about why it is that we're here and what it means to be human. I hope you found this video interesting, maybe even helpful. If you have any questions for me, please ask them in the comments. Now's potentially the time to look back at my older videos if you wanted a distraction, which can be helpful in some instances, but remember, only distract yourself if you're well informed and you've really tried to appraise the situation as honestly and as helpfully as you can. This is a global pandemic, but it doesn't have to be a personal disaster for you. You can make it an absolutely wonderful opportunity to grow, become more resilient, and learn much more about yourself and get a new lease of life. Thank you so much for watching, and my next video will be unrelated to the pandemic, but I hope you enjoy it too.